folder associated with my project, and here we are. I have put a file in here. So I'm going to open this file. By default, because I had Gephi pre-installed, this file should open with Gephi. I'm double-clicking on the file, and to show you a couple of manipulations there. So Gephi is loading on my second screen, which you will be able to see in a second. I'm just gonna pull this up. So I'm saying, sure, I want to open this graph. Right. So here we are, open, and we want to open the file that sits on the desktop in a tutorial folder. So here we go, and this is our file, and I want to open that file. So it tells me that parallel edges were detected, and that Gephi found some mistake here. It will ignore name attribute because it couldn't understand what class it is, but otherwise it tells me that the network's directed. This is the number of nodes and edges. And so I agree to that. And just a quick intro to Gephi. So it's 3 main tabs at the top. Overview gives you sort of the playground. Data Laboratory tab gives you the view on the nodes or edges. So here are the 2 pieces that you can look at what the data set looks like. So this is the edges, and this is the nodes, 2 data sets. And the preview, and the preview button, and I click refresh, will show you what that picture would look like eventually when we manipulate it. So just let's choose a layout. Let's go with something simple so we see beautiful things happening. The network is trying to so we can give it some time. While it's sort of sorting itself out, I'm going to talk a few things here. So important tabs that you may be interested in is statistics. So the buttons for degree, weighted degree, network diameter, graph density, modularity, connected components, path lengths, clustering coefficient gives you a couple of other things along clustering coefficients. You'll just have to click the run button and it will give you the stats. We'll run one with the degree, just to talk about visualization. So see, it gives you some results about the degree distributions, which you can explore. So we're going to pause this for a second and just work a bit with visualizations, just sort of, let's say you want to rank your nodes. So I go to nodes ranking based on degree or based on in degree. Remember, these are airports, so I want actually maybe I want to do that and apply. And so we see that the sizes of the nodes have changed. Maybe I want them to change by color, by city, or by position, or by name. So I can play with how I'm gonna visualize that. I can also look at the edges and rank them or color them in some ways. So for instance, based on weight, I can apply that, so that changes the things around. I can zoom in, I can move things around, I can explore, I think that's the one that does that, the data. Right, so I click on this and click on the node, and it tells me some information about this particular node in here. One of the important things is here in the Data Laboratory tab is that, as I said, this is the node data set. So I click on the nodes here, and it shows me just our 700 nodes, right? It shows each node. We see all the data frames, the entire data set, so we know the name of the node, which city, what's position, its degree, because we have calculated it. So whatever calculations we have conducted in the overview tab, they will be reflected in the data laboratory. It allows you to click around and just sort things. So it's very intuitive and pretty simple. You can export this and play with it in Excel if you like. It also gives you some information about the edges if you click on it. Sometimes what may be useful for visualization is that if I go back to my network here and look at filters, I may want to filter my network based on edge weight. So I decide that I'm gonna create this condition and drag the filter here. So it gives me an opportunity to filter from edges from weight 1 to weight 29. Why does that happen in this network? Maybe you don't remember, but it's because we have collapsed multiple edges. So I'm just going, let's look at very intense edges. So the ones that are ranging from 24 to 29. We select the range and we click filter, and so we see only 3 airports, seems, are connected with very strong, intense flights. And we may want to know what those airports are, so we want to activate node labels. So we click, and then we see that this is all n and a number, which is not necessarily the information that you want in your visualization. So for that reason, you may go back to data laboratory and copy data from one column to another. So in this case, we want to copy the we want to work in the node dataset, and we want to copy the city name to the label column. And so if we go back to overview now, then we're going to see all the cities. So we sort of can highlight and see, okay, so we're talking about most flights being from Detroit to Chicago to Minneapolis, right? So we stop this and we go back to our very messy network. We can adjust the sizes of the labels a little bit. Okay, and last thing is, if we want to export a pretty picture, we can go to the preview, refresh. Well, that didn't really work well, but we can play around some more, rescale weight, refresh, change colors. Bottom line is that when you work in Gephi, most of the things that you do for visualization is trial and error, depending on your network. And then you would want to save as your project to be able to come back to this network later.